everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and oh man, we have another great show. She comes all the way from Mexico, Hilda Fainsod. She is with us. I am telling you the book. It's called Power Up. It's fantastic. The Executive Roadmap to Transforming Life and Business. I've done this book. I went through it twice. So good. I wrote on the Amazon 5-star review, which, by the way, you can look up. If you go find her book on Amazon and you look at the most recent reviews, you'll find my review right there. And this book is nuggets, nugget after nugget after nugget. And when I mean nuggets, I mean practical, applicable goodness, meaning that these are things that she puts in here that you could do right now. Not things that you got to wait till tomorrow. There's no cost. By the way, zero cost to do the things that she suggests in this book. Will not cost you a dime. But you know what it's going to cost you? Change. It's going to cost you change is what it's going to do. And she asks question after question. Do you really want to change? Do you really want to transform your life? Do you really want to transform your business? Are you willing? I love how she says this. Are you willing to pay the fee? Ooh. Are you willing to pay the fee for that change? Because it's going to cost you something. It may not be money, but it may be a whole bunch of bad habits. And it's going to cost you some time practicing. And you got to look at it as a journey, not as a destination, right? Because when you get through this, when you get through this, right, at the end of it, how are you going to sustain it? How are you going to sustain that fourth level? How are you going to sustain in that roadmap? Those are the questions. And that's what we're going to talk to Hilda about. I'm going to introduce you to Hilda Fainsod. Hilda is a catalyst for personal and professional growth, striving to empower individuals and organizations to unlock performance and happiness. She's specializing in mastermind, mental fitness, and coaching. Hilda holds 10 international certifications that validate her expertise in working with senior executives, teams, and organizations for over 2 decades. Hilda has been a trusted partner on leaders' transformative journeys. Her commitment lies in support with those who invest their growth and change, ensuring their choices and actions are amplified. As a leadership podcaster and author of Buen Camino, Hilda challenges, my Spanish is pretty good. Buen Camino. You hear that pronunciation?
It's perfect. Yeah.
Sadly, I can read it. I don't know necessarily know what I'm doing. Hilda challenges individuals to embrace change and reach their next level. When she's not immersed in her work, you can find her exploring new destinations, taking leisurely walks, engaging in meaningful conversations, cherishing time with family and friends, and enjoying life. If you want to learn more, and you should, go to hildafainsod.com. That's Hilda, Hilda, Fainsod, FAINSOD.com. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show. Welcome for the first time from Mexico City, Mexico, Hilda Fainsod. Welcome to A New Direction.
Gosh, what an introduction. I love your introduction. I can listen to you the whole hour.
Well, thankfully you don't. Because you get to be a participant in all this. And so we get to have a lot of fun along the way. I love the book. I don't make any bones about it. I really love the book. A couple things I want to just get out of the way is right in the introduction, you kind of set us up. And you say, if you want to leave a mark in this world, acquire a habit, live a fulfilling life, create a new you, or support your team or company through a change, this is the reason that you wrote the book. So talk to us about, we want to leave a mark in this world. So we have to do all these things. Give us a jump start into what where our mindset has to be and what we need to do.
Yeah. The first is to go inside, because usually we try to change others, other practices and processes, in the organization, and we need to go first inside to do a check-in to find out what do I need to do in order to be better,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of leader I want to be, or what kind of leader I should be in those new challenges that we are facing 2025 in our business, in our country. So those questions is keep the question to yourself until you will find the answer of who do you want to become. And who do you want to become is a better version. And with a better you will support others, you will mentor them, you will coach them, you will be that kind of example, role model
Mm.
that
When
makes a difference in others' life.
in chapter 1, you said you asked the question, and I know you were on this journey, exercise journey, because you said that you were never really an athlete. That wasn't really what you did, and it took you some time to get there. And you thread this throughout the book. And you asked the question, chapter 1, why doesn't my body ask me to exercise? Which I just found hilarious, because our body doesn't tell us. It doesn't say, hey, I want to go exercise. It doesn't generally say that. And then you go on to say we have to define meaning, because through the different labels we add or reduce these things that have power over us, and we have to review our meanings, because when we find meaning for ourselves, that makes a difference. Explain that.
Yeah. 47 years of my life, I didn't work out. I didn't. And when I began my coaching journey, I decided to understand my blockers. It was the perfect opportunity to question myself and to find my biases and what stopped me at that time or prevent me from exercising and to have this healthy, energized life. So I began question myself, but I did a commitment. I decided to go 3 times a week, at least 20 minutes to the gym. So I signed up for it, no excuses, to find my biases. And I began like, this is horrible. Sweat, sacrifice. I need to wake up in the morning early. I left the kids at home. This is not funny. I cannot hold myself in it. It's so difficult. I can barely breathe. I don't have physical condition. This is awful. And I listened at myself. And suddenly I found out that with those toxic meanings, who wants to do exercise? Who? No one. If it's so awful, it's not a good invitation to join the club. So when I listen at myself day after day after day, it was like, this is noisy. It doesn't support my journey, and this is not healthy because I see like a huge sacrifice. So those meanings are toxic, and I need to do something. And at that moment, I didn't have good meanings, but I decided to write them. So I took a piece of paper and I said, okay, the 10 best meanings that others can say about exercising and workout and to be healthy and to do something for yourself. And the meanings began like, okay, health and energy and physical condition. I can keep my weight and I can feel this well-being and stress-free, and invest in myself. So I was like, whoa, that sounds so different.
Mm.
So I will keep that in mind. You talked before about mindset.
Mhm.
I will keep that in mind every time that I will be in a treadmill.
Mm. So
And
being
I
health,
will keep my commitment.
right? So what helped you is when you redefined the reasons why and you understood what the reasons were, redefining that then made it easier to go back into it because you defined it in such a way that it had more meaning to you. I want to look
Yeah.
good. I want to feel good. I want to mentally be better. I want to physically be better. I want to be able to walk. Walk with my children or whatever it may be. But redefining that
Mhm.
gave that
Yeah.
switch.
And Jay, the importance here is that we are meaning creators. And I love to explain that with my cup of coffee. I love my cup of coffee. And there are a bunch of people that say, "Are you crazy? This is aluminum. You cannot put in the micro
Wave.
oven, yeah, in the microwave, and it doesn't hold any hold. Why do you love it?" And I said, because my son was on vacation and he reminds me, and he brought me this gift. So that's why I love it.
Mm,
So we put meaning into things. So I love it. I use every day my cup, and for me, it's very convenient
mm,
because it's a way to be in touch with my son.
mm,
But for example, others can say, "This is awful. This is inconvenient. You cannot hold it. You cannot this and that." So, which meaning gives more power, or which meaning reduce the possibilities of doing something? And my toxic meanings with exercise were the one that prevents me from doing and accomplishing.
mm.
And we have meanings in everything. The
Right.
meaning doesn't exist. We create a meaning.
Yeah. You later on in this chapter, you talk about is this a journey? How long will it take? And I get this question a lot, and I bet you do too. That as a coach, sometimes people want to hire me as a coach, and they'll say, "Well, how long is this journey going to take?" And
First question.
right,
First
right,
question.
yeah. And I have to tell them, you know what? It's not up to me. It's up to you and the amount of change that you make. And you've got, and I tell them, we all have bad habits, right? And you've got to change some really bad habits that you've had sometimes for years, if not decades. The people I work with, you do too. And you talk about here, to make a habit stick, we must change who we are and create a new, more robust identity that responds to our challenges.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Talk about creating a new us or a new you.
Yeah. I think we need to stick to the question in different stages of life.
Mm,
Because suddenly, when you become 40, you question yourself, but
mm,
you forget to question in your 50s, your 60s, and plus. And you have different motivations and needs. So, to keep in the question is very important in different moments. But we can become better in a lot of things. I mean, now AI is a whole revolution. So go and see what it is and have a conversation with ChatGPT and enter a question and see what's the outcome and explore. And maybe you can become more digital in a world that is a lot of digital and technical issues. So we can become technically better, or we can become a better robust I if I question myself, who do I want to become? Because usually we put ourselves, and I do a lot, we put ourselves into goals. And I do have like 10 different goals for 2025. And I have segments of in exercise, this and that, in travel, those, in work, this and that. So I do have goals, but the goal that allow you to move, the goal when you accomplish it, you mark it and you forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have those friends, runners, that they run marathons as I did in the past. And they actually never ever after the marathon go back to the gym.
Mm.
It's like I'm tired. I put the mark. It was a dream, not anymore because I accomplished. So forget about it. So the goals are that you accomplished something and you lost it.
Mm.
And the energy goes back and the commitment and the enthusiasm. So we need to question who do we want to become. It's not the same to reduce 3, 5 pounds, whatever, than to become a healthy person.
You know what? That's so good because you're right. You know what? We make this. We have this ideal in our head, and I've known these people too that, they're going to run a marathon. They're going to, they're going to lift a certain amount of weight or whatever they're planning to do, right? And then they get there, and then once they get there, it's like it's over. There's no
Over?
continuation. There's no continuation to do anything, and so then what happens is they don't. They just stop. They stop working out. They stop training. They stop it all because it's like, okay, I met my goal. I'm done. I don't have to do anymore. And I wonder how much, Hilda, this happens in business too, where, and because I'm not a big fan of goal setting because, first of all, virtually nobody ever meets their goals. No, virtually no one does.
Yeah, the percentage is really
Yeah.
low.
I mean, yeah, let's be honest here. And people want to throw out this thing. Well, if people will say, and I have a client, I'm not, and hold on, Nick, don't get upset with me. But his favorite sayings was, if you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail. Well, you know how many millions of people make a plan every January 1st? And 98% of them fail with their plan, got their goal. So they never make it. And it's because we're not doing it right. Right. And you point this out actually, because you talk about sometimes what you're saying is it's about mindset and behavior. Here's what you said. It's about mindset, behavior. Seeing a new you is a clue to success. And sometimes you have to fake it until you make it or stimulate it until it becomes part of you. Talk about that.
Yeah. The first thing is the question you said before, how much will it take?
Right.
And I said, the much as it will take.
Right. Yeah.
Not a single step less.
Right.
So we need to understand that we love quick fixes and shortcuts, and they don't begin the coaching process and they want to know when they are going to finish with it. The questions in our head are not the proper. The proper is, what do I need to do in order to achieve the dream?
Right. They're asking the wrong question because they're asking how long is it, and the question should be, what am I going to need to do to get there and the change? You know what? This book is so good, folks. We're just getting started. Her name's Hilda Fainsod. The book's entitled "Power Up: The Executive Roadmap to Transforming Life and Business." Get yourself a copy, Amazon. You know what? You're listening to her here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, sponsors. Gotta do the sponsor thing. I gotta talk about Zoundy. It's the ultimate game changer for authors, publishers, and professionals in the audio book space. Just telling you, I am part of Zoundy. I love it. If I'm going to go speak to 500 people, I can send them a free copy of my audiobook. And here's the best part. Not only do I send them a free copy, I get to find out who's downloading it, get their email address, and I can start interacting with them. Can't do that in any other audio platform. So listen, when you're ready, as an author or publisher, go to Zoundy.com, Zoundy.com. You go use /J, J-A-Y, and then put in the promo code J25. That's going to unlock your savings. Zoundy.com /J, use J25 to unlock your savings. You'll be so glad you did. Also, Linda Craft Team Realtors. Listen, they're going to the 40th year. They're actually, matter of fact, this is their 40th year. And they have been the absolute premier real estate company for transition in life. And I know, what do you mean? Well, look, every place you've ever lived has been a life transition. They've been helping people for 40 years successfully. They're one of the top companies. And I'm just telling you, they're locally owned and loved, help thousands of people. They can help you when you're ready to make a life transition, because they can take the stress out of that part of it. Just go to lindacraft.com. It's LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend, Hilda Fainsod. The book, Power Up, the executive roadmap to transforming a life and business. I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit. You ask another question. You ask a question, are you looking for transformation? And then you ask the second question, are you satisfied with the life you're living? And I thought that was such a good question, because I don't know that we ask it. I think we complain, but I don't think we ask the question, are you satisfied with the life you're living? And whatever that answer is, then it becomes, okay, what are you going to do about it? So talk to us about transformation and being satisfied, and how we start making a little bit more of that transition.
Yeah. There was a woman in the hospital, and she was going into surgery, heart surgery, and it was very risky. So she talked with her daughter that morning and said, if I don't make it. And the daughter said, no, allow me to say it. If I don't make it, I want you to understand that I'm satisfied in life. And it was, when I listened at that story, it was huge for me, because we don't ask ourselves that question. And that one is just the one that our mind and our heart needs to have to design the future that we want.
Yeah.
Because it's better to have a future by design than to live in the future that unfolds every day. Because, Jay, you had this agenda, and this morning it says all the activities and conversations and meetings and podcasts that you are going to have. And tomorrow and the other day and the next week and the whole month, and that is. So maybe that future that evolves is not the one that you want. Is only happening. And you accomplish it, and you solve it, and have those meetings and conversations, and that way you keep the business going. But who says that is perfectly the one that you want by design? And if it's not, you can rethink your future. And that is a transformation decision. Not a small adjustment, really a transformation decision.
Yeah, I think, what I hear you say here is, are you living a life intentionally? Right? Are you living it intentionally, or are you just letting life happen? And the life that you're living, you have to live on purpose. Because if you're not living on purpose, you're living without a purpose. And that's really, really powerful. How do our beliefs affect this? You said something. You said, I used to believe that wanting something was enough to make it happen. And I overestimated my own willpower. Talk to us about beliefs and how they can actually they're not always accurate.
Of course not. And we have this belief system that we don't question ourselves. But sometimes that beliefs help us and support us to achieve. I can do it. I can make it. Of course, with my expertise, I can go to that place. I can create this and that. But sometimes we don't feel enough prepared, enough confident in our skills and capacity, enough as a professionist to deal with something. So we need to question our beliefs. And the first question is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't
I
know
want to believe it's
what
true,
to answer. Yeah.
right?
But it's
Yeah.
really true. The second question is really true. Well, actually, my teacher in second grade
Mm.
told me I'm an idiot. And that happens a lot.
Yes, it
It's
does.
awful.
You're right.
It's
You're right.
awful, but it's right.
Right.
So when you listen at yourself, is like, okay, I was there with 7 years, and I was not now with how many years, and what did I learn and overcome and acquire, and who do I am today?
Mm.
To empower ourselves, to own our talents,
Mm.
because some beliefs are from the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe all of them. And not in the past, you weren't like that, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Of course not. And we don't know we are going to be in the future. Who's gonna be our future self? I don't know mine. Do you know yours?
Mm.
So it's creation. It's not only more wrinkles, more gray hair, more age, more, less. No, it's really 4 years ago, I didn't say about myself that I was an author. And now I do have 2 books.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we don't know our future self, but we can create it.
Yeah. What's really interesting here is you got me thinking. Uh, we have more story to write, but we don't always know what the story's going to be. But if the more intentionally that we live, and the more we question our own belief system, which often puts us in a bad position, the story can be so much bigger than what we have in our own head. You know what I
Oh,
mean? We limit. I think we limit how big the story can be. And this leads me into the three things that you talk about that inhibit us: triggers, saboteurs, and blockers.
oh yeah.
And you talk about these three things, and they can inhibit that ability for us to, make the picture bigger, make the story bigger. So talk about the saboteurs, the blockers, and the triggers.
Yeah. And I want to answer because you said something really important about it. Sometimes is bigger that the one that we have in our head.
Yeah.
But when we want something really big, instead of deciding what do I have to achieve it, I began like, oh, this is big. Do I going to be capable of solving that? And my inner voice is going to make me crazy. Who do you think you are?
Mm.
You are good the way you are. You don't need to write a book. I mean, in your whole life, you didn't. So why now? You don't need to put yourself into that pressure. Why? So we have this inner voice that is designed to survive, but it doesn't support our thriving in life. And it's amazing that we have an alert in our mind, because that alert will support moments of crisis, difficult moments, an earthquake, a fire, all that. But it doesn't support our change.
Mm.
And we need to be aware of that, because when we will set a huge goal that put ourselves in an unstable position, because it's big, it's not a small, no risky movement, no, it's big. So our mind is going to be crazy, because this part of our mind wants to be safe. And we need to stop that thinking, be aware, and to stop it, and to reinforce who I am, to go to the other side of the brain, the one that thrives. And we all have different experiences of making it, achieving something, be successful, receiving this recognition. But the other side of our brain makes us crazy and creates concern, stress, to be anxious and maybe mad and frustrated. And maybe I not paying attention to the voice in our head, but we see the results. I know perfectly when I'm stressed. I feel this here vibration in myself. So I know when I'm stressed. And it's not the same to act with stress, that we all know perfectly how to do, but it's highly costly, than to act with a clear head, with this kind of, I want to explore possible solutions. And let's see all the possibilities, and what do I need to do, and who do you want to talk to have their support or ideas. So it's not the same, and we usually act or don't from the place of concerns or fear or stress or anxiety or disappointment, or we don't act, we stop. Yeah, I want it, but it's not the time, Jay, it's not. Maybe later on in the 2025, not now. So we make excuses.
Mm. Are those the saboteurs?
Yeah, sure. This inner voice that judges are those saboteurs, and they have different names. I do have the victim. I actually, thanks God, I don't have the victim mode so high, but there's the victim that, in my country, in my family, in my company, in the stage in life, I cannot. And we have this controller. I need to have all the information in my hand, because if not, I don't going to move in a certain way. And there is also the hyperachiever, and I'm a hyperachiever. So every time that I want something big, my brain makes me crazy.
Mm.
Are you going to write a book in English? You speak Spanish. I mean, what are you doing? Are you going to sound like a Mexican that wants to speak English? This is awful. Why you put yourself into it?
Right.
Okay, that was one of the 100 thoughts that I have through the year when I was writing in English.
Uh, let me ask you this. you talk about Marshall Goldsmith and triggers.
Oh, yeah.
And
Amazing book.
he says that our inner beliefs trigger failure before it happens. They sabotage lasting change by canceling its possibility. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
say a trigger can be any word, person, event, or experience that creates an immediate emotional response. How do we deal with these triggers?
Yeah. With awareness. Awareness is everything. With awareness, okay, do I want to listen to my voice or do I want to accomplish the goal? Do I want to listen to that friend or person? Do I want to pay attention to this or to what I think is going to happen to accomplish that? So every experience, I didn't make it last time. So every experience, every event, every context or circumstance or every person can challenge our possibilities. And we need to decide which voice are we going to pay attention to.
Mm.
And that's huge.
Yeah, that's really huge. You talk later in this chapter about how to be uncomfortably comfortable.
Oh, gosh,
And
that is so difficult.
yeah, you know, I interviewed a special operations forces military person here who wrote a book called Deliberate Discomfort, and putting us in that, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's never easy, but I kind of like your perspective on it. Give us your perspective on getting to be uncomfortably comfortable.
Yeah. First is a decision that I don't know everything.
Mm.
I cannot deal with everything in life. So everything that I want to change comes with a price. And if I move in small steps, I can accomplish better. Because with some big goals, we chunk it into pieces and we take every tiny piece and we move a little bit. And that way is not so big, so uncomfortable. And for example, I decided this 2025 that I will be in shape and I will sign up for a gym. And it's like, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe. So you can begin by a small step, not so uncomfortable, to Google different options and to make a decision.
Mm.
That's it. The next day it's to sign up. The next day you go for the sneakers. And the next day you begin with a few minutes. I had this client that um, she was living in the States. She's from Europe. And when she began a coaching process, she began like, okay, I lost totally control in my life. I don't eat healthy anymore. I gain weight. I disorganized. I don't feel comfortable in my body. I need to do everything. So from tomorrow on, diet, zero carbs, and no sugar, and gym all days. Maybe okay, not all, but from Monday to Friday. And I say stop, because you are going to alert your brain. And in 3 days, you are going to say, I cannot deal with that.
Mm.
And that's going to be true. So, do you have something at home? And she said, yeah, a treadmill. Okay. Can you do exercise 5 minutes? And she said, Hilda, come on, 5 minutes. Who cannot do that? Okay. Can you do that? Yeah, yeah, I can. I will do it every day. No, no, no. It's like, is it okay to do 5 minutes 3 times a week? And if you want to stay more, you can stay. But if not, 5 minutes is your commitment 3 times a week. And she said yes. And 5 minutes was nothing. So she began to stay 10 or 15 or 20. And she committed with 3 times. And now she achieve what she wanted, and she do exercise, and she's in best shape, best nutrition, best everything. And she began so small
Yeah.
that her brain didn't alert her.
Yeah.
So that is to be uncomfortable a little, not too much.
But being uncomfortably uncomfortable. You know what? We're going to have to take a break here, but I just want to say that what you're saying here makes so much sense. We have a tendency, like when you was telling your friend, your client, just do 5 minutes. We all want to go, I could do 5 minutes. Hilda, give me a challenge. Let me do 30. And
Mhm.
no. See, that's the problem with our brain. The problem with our brain is we don't want to take every small step. We want to jump steps.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when our brain gets alerted and we go, oh no, well, wait, right? Because you've jumped too many steps. You have to do it gradually so that you get comfortably uncomfortable without even recognizing. Your brain doesn't even recognize it's uncomfortable because it's making the adjustment little by little by little by little. And we have a tendency to, I see this a lot in the gym. I love lifting weights, and I'll see guys who want to just pile a whole bunch of weight on, right? And I'm like going, that's not the way to start, guys. It's okay to start small and work your way up, because you're asking for injury, and then you're going to be in a lot of pain, and there's going to be a lot of soreness. And so, we don't understand that when we start jumping all these little steps, we've actually made it worse for ourselves, because then there's less of a tendency we ever want to go back.
We stop. Instead of building blocks
Yeah, we
that
stop.
become a big tower.
Yeah. Her name is Hilda Fainsod. The book, Power Up, the executive roadmap to transforming life and business. She is absolutely outstanding. The book is great. Get it. I'm just telling you, you're listening to her here on A New Direction. Folks, Zoundy, I talk about it every week. I love it. It is a game changer. If you're an author and your book is not on Zoundy, the Audible platform that gets your book to the people so that you can connect with them. Imagine somebody gets your book, they download it, comes back with an email address that you can connect with them and go, hey, saw that you read the book, would love to hear what you're learning from it, and how can I help you? What a great thing for coaches who've written a book of an Audible book, right? What a great way, so that when you're going to meet with the audience, you've already given them 500 of your audiobooks, and they already know you, and you've already got a relationship with them. It's perfect. So listen, go to zoundy.com/J. Zoundy, ZOUNDY.com/J. Use my code J25, that's JAY25. And I'm telling you, you're going to be so glad you did. Zoundy.com. And Linda Craft Team Realtors. Listen, I want to talk about her website. Oh, man, their website is top notch. I think it's bleeding edge, not cutting, bleeding edge of technology when it comes to websites. It's got everything. It's got the listings, all the stuff you expect. But then there's the things that you don't expect. Like they got a child psychologist to write about how to move with children, or the veterinarian, how to move with your pet. I'm just telling you, it is one of the most complete websites that you'll ever see when it comes to real estate. Check him out, lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Hilda Fainsod, the book, Power Up, the Executive Roadmap to Transforming Life and Business. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm having a blast with you. Thank
Oh
you.
gosh, I'm enjoying very much. I love your question. It reminds me, why did I write, and what is the impact that can create in others?
Right.
And you said in the introduction that there are small practices, and that's right. Can you show people that you underline your book Because if you don't do that, if you don't download from your head the content into a small practice, is not going to change you.
No, no. Well, I've always said, Hilda, that every book I've ever read has changed me in some way, and they all do. I read every book every week and take notes on every book. I mean, I have 26 pages of notes on your book in front of me here, and uh, they all change me in some way. Your book has changed me. It's made an impact. I even told you how it made an impact with some of the group the group of hockey players I work with, and that it just made a huge impact on me and made a huge impact on them. So learning from you has been great. Just sitting at your feet and learning from you in this book has been absolutely fantastic for me. And I know we don't got a lot of time left, but with what time we have, let's jump into this 4-step breakthrough model. And this model, 4 steps. The first one is care. Talk to us briefly about this first step, care. Why do we start here with this 4-step breakthrough? Matter of fact, why don't you just tell us what it is and then tell us about care first?
Yeah, the model pretends to solve a pain that we all have. We suffer from sustaining change. We accomplish a goal and we forget about it. We delegate some activities and suddenly I forget to do that, and I prefer to do it fast and I don't need to explain, so I forget. And I achieve the results I wanted, forget. So I sustain until I see a little change, and after that I let go. So that's why the breakthrough model is so important. And it begins with care, because if we want to change, it's important that that change will be aligned with what matter most to us in life.
Explain that.
Yeah. For me, for example, I'm committed with change and transformation and support others in that journey. So the books are how do I do more than a one-on-one coaching session to create impact? Want to create a bigger impact and to scale what I do. So it matters to me. So in my care, what I change needs to be aligned with what matters to me. I want to enjoy more life and to work, but also to be happy and to work and achieve results and to be in my best condition to enjoy life. So my decisions need to attend that care.
I see. Okay.
So that is quite important to me.
So
Care is a great question.
so it's what I care about, does that align with what I'm doing? Is that a way we could say it? Is that I'm in alignment with what I care about? And so I'm doing all the things that fit with what's important to me, that care.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will make you happy, it will make you better, it will give you more in life, it will be aligned with your family, with your friends, with your business. It will be, because if not, why do you want to achieve that?
Yeah, why are you trying to achieve it? Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So that's the first one. The first part of the breakthrough model is step 1. Step 2 is practice.
Oh yeah, who do you want to
This is a big
become,
one.
and what is the practice, Jay? This is the whole secret.
Yep.
Small practices that you can keep until you need to change yourself. And in my case, after a year of working out committedly, after a year, I began like, okay, I enjoy it. After a year, I enjoy it. If I don't go to the gym, my body asks me, why I don't have these benefits of the exercise because you didn't. So practice is everything. And
Mhm.
in terms of knowledge, knowledge doesn't change yourself.
Right.
It is the practice of that idea.
Right.
Is the reflection in action, the motivation in a step, the inspiration in a set of steps that you can keep as long as it takes.
Mm.
That is practice.
Mm.
And there are small practices, and I love that idea. There are like a 2-minute gratitude practice in the morning to make yourself more positive and more that kind of sharing with others. A 2-minute practice. It's not that huge practice, no. There are small, consistent practices that you keep.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing. I talked to this about with my hockey uh, team last night, and I said, because they we were talking about the negative thoughts part, and I pointed out that you said in the book that you have to practice changing your negative thoughts to positive thoughts. You just don't expect it to just to happen right away. And I reminded them, I said, when you started playing hockey, you know, you guys are not nearly as great as you are now, because now you guys are great. You just take it for granted how good you are because you practice every day,
Practice.
right? Right. But when you started, you weren't doing the things that you're doing now when you got on the ice on ice skates. And I said, but think about how much practice you put in. And I was telling, and this is why you were so beautiful to do this for me. And so thank you. But when I told them about, I said, one thing Hilda says, and it's so true, we have to practice the same thing in our mindset. If you want to have a positive thought, you've been having automatic negative thoughts, ants, right? A-N-T, ants, we call them. You've been having automatic negative thoughts in your brain forever. They just come in. You have to practice positive thinking.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to practice it
It's to
every day.
practice. It's to practice. So pay attention to yourself because maybe a thought like, gosh, I don't sleep enough.
Mm,
So I'm not going to perform at my best today.
mm,
Negative thought is I don't sleep enough. So what do I need to do?
yeah,
Do I need to drink these electrolytes, or do I need to rest a little bit before the training, or do I need to put myself into that training and after that I will rest a little bit on the evening? What do I want to do?
right,
Because I didn't sleep well. This is a fact, but this cannot be my reality today. So
right,
what I'm going to do?
right. What am I going to practice today? That's
What
great.
I'm going. We are what we practice,
Yes,
not what we say.
right. We are what
So
we think.
we say a lot.
Yeah, we do. We
We
do.
are what we practice.
Yeah. So good. We've done an hour together, you and me, and I've had so much fun with you. Tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, they can read Power Up and they will have a lot of ideas and reflections into actions. And they can go into hildafainsod.com and write me and have an initial conversation. And of course, we can become better and stronger every day. And it's not so huge if you start and keep going. So my invitation is to transform yourself and to be better, bigger, stronger, that kind of person that you want with a plenty life, a
That's awesome.
fulfilling life, not
That's
only a life of business.
that's awesome. Hilda, stay with me, please. Folks, this is the show. You know what I say to you every week. You are in control of three things: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. I know life can throw things at you, but you know what? You still can control your attitude. You make that choice, and your effort is tied to your excellence. So I know things are rough, but how excellent will you choose to be today? And then finally, your resiliency. We all get knocked down. All of us do. But it's up to you to get back up again. And we need you to get back up. And you want to know why? Because we want you on the team and we need you. So get back up. We're here. I'll be back next week with another great guest. Could be another great book. It's automatically another great show. I'm so grateful for all of you. You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you for doing that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and wherever you're listening to this show, give us a 5-star review and maybe write something nice. That would be great too. And tell your friends. We always need you to do that. As I say to you this, and I say it to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.